and welcome to Rolling with Reviews. I'm Will, and with me is the Countess, who is running a duchy so that she could then be a duchess for the... The story of this is weird. Anyway, it is...
Sarah.
And today, we're doing a review of Dice Kingdoms of Valeria. Sarah, tell us a bit about this confusing story game.
Okay, well, I'm not going to touch on the theme, but Dice Kingdoms of Valeria is a roll and write game of, well, developing your castle. I guess I am talking about the theme. Expanding your domain over nearby lands and clearing out pesky monster lairs. Whoever does that the best, has the most points at the end of the game, wins.
And they then make the duchy the Southern Kingdom of Valeria.
Okay,
the
that
Southern
part...
Palace. And then they become a... Because it's like, you start as an earl, and the female counterpart is a countess, which is why you were a countess. But you're running a duchy, which means you should be a duke or a duchess in this case. But then you become a duke if you win, or a duchess, to be the Southern Palace of Valeria.
Which is mostly so that if they lose the war, they have somewhere to retreat to.
Or a palace for summer vacations.
Anywho.
Yes.
Let's talk about why we got the game, which obviously wasn't for
political intrigue and confusion.
We got it because we like roll and writes.
Yes.
And we really like Valeria Card Kingdoms, and this is Valeria Card Kingdoms, the roll and write. So that interested us.
Ta-da!
So what do we like about the game?
Oh, it has very good playing when it comes to
the
simultaneous play, just like the Valeria Card Kingdoms.
Right.
In fact, whenever I see a dice version of a game, I'm thinking, oh, okay, they're gonna like slap on bits of a game that it's based on, and it's going to be essentially a completely different game. This is very, very close to Valeria Card Kingdoms.
It really does capture the game flow of Valeria Card Kingdoms, and that's a big part of why we really like it, is the fact that on everybody's turn, everybody's involved. You all harvest together, which means you're all engaged in the game every single step of the way. It's just the active player gets to do an extra thing.
Yes.
So it's more like everybody's doing something all the time, and that's just really fun, and they kept that in here, which is great, because that's, again, one of the parts we really love.
Right.
The other thing that I found really neat in the Valeria world, magic, which is often represented by a blue...
triangle-looking shape.
Kind of a soft triangle thing. Yeah.
It's with all the... It's made safe because it rounds off the edges.
It's safe magic.
Yeah, safe magic.
In here, the blue die is not an action in its own right, but it modifies the other three main actions that you can do. So when you're choosing to like go fight in a monster lair, which takes the red die, you can either take the red die value by itself or add the blue die value to it so you can get a bigger number. And of course, then you can modify from there depending on what domains you've unlocked. So that was really... I don't know, it really tickled my fancy that they kept magic in such an engaging way.
Yeah, and they even color-coded the things.
Yes.
Blue is still magic, yellow is still money, red is still fighty. They've actually introduced a new color, green.
Yes, because that has to do with actually moving along the roads, which takes you to unlocking the domains.
Yes.
The other thing is what we both really like about a lot of, I would say, heavier roll and writes. Not that this is necessarily heavier, but that what I call combo-rific gameplay, where an action gives you another action, which gives you another action. So it's this cascading chain of things you get to do. And it's so rewarding feeling.
Yeah, especially when you get to the point, it's like, okay, I need to remember I still need to do these two things.
Yep.
Wait, I need another thing. Okay. Can you keep track of this?
It's like, oh, I gained a knight. Oh, the knight lets me move on a road. Oh, I moved on a road that got me to, I don't know, something else, like a coin. And now you fill in a coin. And then like, oh, well, now I can get a statue. And so it's just, yeah, it's just great how it cascades in And that is part of what makes your choices engaging, because you can be like, oh, I can move on the road. Maybe at this point that's not very great because I can't move far enough to complete anything. But this other action, maybe doing the gold, does give me this cascading series of things I can do because I can get a new citizen. And the new citizen lets me do something else. So, yeah, it's really great that way.
Yes.
And then kind of just going off of that, it is a lighter game, but the choices that you're making, like I said, are still really engaging and interesting.
Yeah,
what you're doing.
anything you choose to do, it does
Yes.
feel meaningful. That, like, oh, yeah, I can definitely see progress going towards a particular strategy or leaning a certain way that I like. So you do have influence in the game and it feels substantial.
Yes, agreed. And then you had a thing about how it gives you just a little bit of everything.
Yeah, so they divided up the game into 3 main components. One is the player interaction component, where all the citizens happen. Basically, that happens every single turn. Roll the dice, harvest from the citizens.
Yeah.
Then you have the player themselves gets to influence the game. That's the whole domain, moving on the board and reaching those domains to unlock new abilities, so that I feel different than Sarah in her domain and where she went. Then there's the head-to-head player interaction element. That's where we're racing on the various dungeon layers to fight and finish them, because whoever finishes them the first gets the better points from that layer. It's not that you're shut off from doing the layer. It's just, well, you get to the end and find that someone else killed the really big bad guy.
So you're only killing the lieutenant, and so it's not worth as much.
Yes.
So yeah, and then on the castle side, all the different, was it 4 guilds. And depending on how you focus your citizens really affects which tracks you're going to go up faster. And each of those tracks has a different focus. Like the holy one is more about gold. And then like the, the warrior, not the warriors.
Yeah, the knights or fighters.
Whatever.
They go up the knights track a lot.
And then the farmers go up gosh, I'm forgetting everything.
The workers go and do a lot of road stuff.
Road stuff, that's it.
I forgot what the shadow guys do.
They kind of do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a smattering of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different ways that you can go and play with the game, and you can feel distinct and unique from everybody else playing.
Yes.
Okay, that covers a lot of what we really like about the game, which is a lot. And so the only thing we don't like about the game is, for how light it is, we kind of also expected it to be shorter.
Yeah, it's a long game. So the way a game ends is when one person has fully filled up 3 guild tracks.
Right.
Each guild track is 24 spaces long.
Yeah. That's a lot of gameplay.
Yeah, so that's 72 spaces that need to be covered on one player's sheet before the game can be signaled to conclude.
And the thing is, you can't just say, oh, we'll only finish 2, because what we saw from our games is part of the catch-up mechanic is someone who races through the guilds. Well, yes, they get to finish those guilds first, but then the citizens, they're not getting benefits from those citizens that feed into the guilds because they can't accept any more spots.
Yeah, and that means they may have prioritized the citizens, but not so much the layers or the domains, which actually give you more points that way.
Yeah, so it's balanced that way because it allows those who might be going slower on their citizens to catch up and still do well point-wise, because they're doing other things. So, like I said, I was kind of hoping that since this is a lighter version of Valeria Card Kingdoms, it would also be a shorter version. But I feel like the game took about the same amount of time as a Valeria Card Kingdoms game.
Yeah,
it's just lighter.
We might be off because Sarah does have to help me with my sheet to fill in bubbles. But if you have a player that does need any sort of help, you're right back where we are, and it might take that same amount of time.
Yeah, I think that definitely did add time, but even then, I don't think that accounts for how much more time the game took.
Right.
I was expecting something definitely under an hour, and even accounting for me filling in your sheet, we were on an hour and a half to 2 hours for the game, and I was definitely expecting that it would be under like 40 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
Even with, So that's kind of a disappointment, but it's still a lighter game for those who might be intimidated by Valeria Card Kingdoms itself. Not that I think Valeria Card Kingdoms is all that heavy, but it's a little bit more.
Yes.
All right. Who is this for?
So you had a good point that this is a good game for those who want to play Valeria Card Kingdoms, but don't want to get out all the cards.
Yeah, I mean, this has very few components. It's very easy to set up, and you can get right into the gameplay. So especially for those who might be like us and have everything Valeria Card Kingdoms, it can take a bit to sort through all the expansions and figure out what it is you're going to play with. So this is a much faster game to just get into and have a very similar experience. And then I think on that token, those who might be intimidated by, oh my God, there's so much Valeria Card Kingdoms, this is a great way to start, get used to the concepts, start learning the iconography, find out if you even like the mechanisms. I mean, obviously you're not rolling and writing stuff in Valeria Card Kingdoms, but
you are rolling.
You are rolling and you are
benefits.
activating things and you are getting resources. So I think this would be a great introduction to, or transition into Valeria Card Kingdoms.
Yes.
So yeah.
All right.
Ratings.
For our ratings, we each have 1d6 worth of ratings to give. 1 is low, 6 is high. We give a number, a reason why, add them together, see what it rolled for us. Sarah, what did Dice Kingdoms of Valeria roll for you?
It rolled a 5. I just really like it. The comboing, the simultaneous play with the harvesting, just everything about it. And the fact that it is similar to Valeria Card Kingdoms, which I love, it just kind of all translates to, I love this version too. I think my only complaint is I wish it was shorter because I think I'd play it a heck of a lot more often if it fit into that under hour time frame for us.
Yes. For me, also a 5. Same reasons. It's long. It has that element that for what you do feels a little too long.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I didn't have a great time playing it.
Right.
I did, and it actually is a fantastic implementation of Valeria Card Kingdoms, which I cannot pronounce. So this is the one box that you would, if you're like, well, I really want to get into Valeria Card Kingdoms, don't have the money, but I'm still willing to put in about that much time. This is that substitute for you.
I agree. And I mean, it's one we're going to keep even though we have everything Valeria Card Kingdoms, because there will be times where we're like, I just want to open up a game and play it, and I want to play something Valeria Card Kingdoms, but I don't want to set up the whole, original or something.
Yeah, it's the time where, yes, Valeria Card Kingdoms, I want to play, but I feel intimidated by making all the choices.
Yeah, all the setup choices.
It's like, okay, what's the 2 one? We have like 4 options. I don't know. Just pick one.
Just pick one randomly. So I think this is a great addition to our collection.
Yes. All right, 10 out of 12 is a spectacular score.
You just can't talk tonight.
I can't talk. Yeah. And Sarah, how do you say Valeria Card Kingdom so easily?
Well, you could always just say VCK.
Now she tells me. And we've been Rolling with Reviews. And remember, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach out to us on the various social media platforms at
Rolling with 2. That's TWO. We are on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And on YouTube, please like and subscribe.
And if you have time, check out the other content Nanaman has found for you, because remember, he's rolling with you.